So, all right. So step one, we want to build rapport. We want to find a connection with people. All right. So again, ask questions. How long have you guys lived here? Or people that you know really well. It's like, oh, so what are you guys doing for spring break? Or, how are the holidays? Or anything you're catching up on, or how so and so, or how the kids doing, or this or that. You're finding things, commonalities, you're complimenting stuff. So the first people you're seeing, it's more of a catch up, right? Because it's all people you guys know. But as you're seeing like your auntie's best friend, or is it like you're chit chatting more and getting to know them a little bit more? All right. Another thing you guys are going to do in your demo is you're actually going to share your goals and let them know why the heck you're working with Cutco. All right. And we'll talk about that in a bit. It is the number one most important thing in your presentation is to connect the dots on working with Cutco and what it can actually do for you in your future. Cool. So for one of our Susan Saunders, one of our moms, when Susan started her why, and when she would share, she had 3 little kids and she wanted to be able to have the flexibility to show up and be there for all of her kids' events, wanted to be able to help set them up for college later. And she would share, with her customers, like that was her why. And by the way, she was a single mom, raised all 3 kids selling Cutco. They're all married now. I think her youngest is graduating college. She's been working with us for over 20 years, and some of you guys might have met her, Susan Saunders, at some of the events, right? She's one of the all-time best, and one of, worked with Andy and I back in the day and helped us build a medical clinic in Haiti. So anyway, whether you're a student, whether you're not, whatever it is, you've got to connect how this helps you outside of just selling knives. Cool? Because if it's just about the knives, do you think Susan's getting a bunch of referrals? Oh, all my friends need knives. No, most people are going to say, I don't really know. Maybe I know a couple of people. Then you're not going to get a lot of referrals if they're just thinking about the knives. But if they know, oh, wow, this is helping the single mom, which was her, helping support her kids, giving her, and she gets paid every time she shows it, whether she sells or not, I'm going to give her a bunch of referrals because I want to help her on her mission. Does that make sense? For a student who's like, hey, I'm trying to, Jay Vaughn, he's like, his family owns Vaughn Construction here in Houston, and he went to A&M. When he was working with us, he would share with his customers, like, my goal is eventually to take over the family business, that my grandfather built that was handed to my dad. Like, I want to take over. My dad does not give me any responsibility right now because I'm 17 and he doesn't think I can handle it. And so I want to show him, that I can handle this. I want to show him that I can, and I want to learn business. My mom wants me to do this, and his mom owned Cutco for a long time. And he's like, my mom wants me to do this to get really good at customer relationships, to be able to, one, help acquire new clients for our company, but also help retain the clients that we have, And so she said, that's really important for me to get really good at relationships so that I can help continue building the company. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So he would share that with customers. Like, this company's allowing me to work on interpersonal skills, presentation skills, time management, organization. It's allowing me as a young person, I can actually do a management internship or even an entrepreneurship one and run my own business for like my own mini franchise for $250 million company. And they were like, whoa, and they're like, that's amazing. That's why he got 20, 30 referrals every time. Not because they had 20 or 30 friends that would buy knives. You guys with me? Ale Tomasino went to Marquette Dental, pre-dent. And when she went there, she had people asking her, why are you wasting your time selling knives? You're a dental student. Shouldn't you be shadowing a dentist? But her goal was to have her own practice one day. And she's like, I don't know what to say to them. I'm like, what you're doing, right? And I gave her the words. I said, here's what I would say, Alec. When you're talking to people and you're sharing your goals, you could just bring it up, even if they don't ask. And you go, a lot of people have asked me, like, oh, why are you selling knives this summer, and not like shadowing a dentist? Like, isn't that what you're going into? And she's like, well, yeah, absolutely. But my goal is to actually have my own practice, and at Marquette and in my major, they teach me all about dentistry, but they don't teach me how to run a business. So I'd have to take another major to learn how to run a business, right? Or I get to learn it here and make money while I'm learning, and not just learn it in book knowledge, right? But actually have a practical application of it and have confidence in how to do it, and actually having the experience of having managed others, ran payroll, learning how to interact, getting referrals, because I want everyone to be like, I have the best dentist in town, right? And tell everyone about it. And they were like, wow, that's amazing. All of a sudden her demos changed, right? It wasn't, oh, why are you wasting time? Like, they got it. And at the end, when she was like, hey, so as you know, I get paid every time I show Cutco. I can only show people I've been personally recommended to. So Jacob, if you could just write down like 200 to 300 super nice people who might be able to help me. It's a joke. I was like, well, like, I'm just kidding. I'm like, 20 to 30 is fine. And I'm not looking for anyone you think would buy, just anyone super nice like you guys to take a look. That's your rec approach. I just did it for you. We're going to go over that tomorrow. Okay. But then they don't even have to write. We have the app you guys have. It's so silly how easy it is now that customers can go, like, I used to have people hand write. Like, my top customers, I got over 100 recs from 3 people. I got 50 to 80 recs from at least another 20 people in my career, and I did a lot of demos. And my average was 22 referrals per appointment, right? And that was handwritten. Like now, you guys can get 100 leads in literally like 3 minutes. They're just like, okay, here you go, right? It's incredible, like all the technology. So we'll talk about Recs tomorrow, but if they like you and they like what you're up to, but forget the knives, forget the knives. Well, we happen to have a kick-ass product though, which is awesome. But forget the knives. Why they're gonna help you, why they're gonna give you a lot of referrals, all right? Because you're gonna sell a lot of Cutco. The most important thing is how many more nice people do you have to show it to? Got it? That's the name of the game. And the way you get lots of referrals is they like you and they like where you're going and they're excited to be a part of that journey. Okay. So be thinking about that, because when you share, the more you'll be like, oh, this can help me with this. I can learn this, especially for those of you who are students. There are so many soft skills that this can help you with, right? That'll help you with anything that you do. And that's really important. And we'll chat a little bit more later. I'll have Devin share some of the stuff his coach was talking about. We went last week to Side Park. And we met with his coach and the principal of the school, and they want to integrate us being able to go speak and speak to the seniors. We're going to be doing stuff with them in April before graduation. But he's like, this is the stuff the kids need, because they're going to need this for anything later in life, right? And it helps be successful. The second step to any sale, all right, is to establish credibility. All right, can anyone tell me what that means? Oh my God, I'm mixing both words. Establish credibility. Anybody? Credibility roots from credible. What does that mean? It's legit. Yeah, you can trust it, right? It's a legit source. All right, it's credible. You guys should check out a dictionary. I don't know. But establish credibility. They need to know that it's legit, or you're legit, or whatever it is, right? And so, what are things that establish credibility? Well, degrees, right? Like for a doctor, like you're like, I'm going to see this doctor or this doctor, and this doctor, you're like he has no credentials, didn't go to school, is doing operations like in the back of the van. Does that seem legit and credible to you? Yeah, no. But this doctor graduated from Yale or Princeton and went to here and studied this and has all these different degrees and is functional medicine certified and da. Those are credibility. What would be an even higher credibility? Oh, they were on Dr. Oz, right? And they're the doctor for celebrities. Like that's a different. So whether it's awards, things you've been featured on, degrees you have, certifications you have for your company, for your business, for whatever it is, like those things establish credibility. Okay. And so for us, we talk about how long we've been around. We're made in the USA. Everything's guaranteed. By the way, we make K-Bar for the U.S. Marines. I don't know if you guys saw this. If you came over here and looked at some of the products, this is not sold. These are for the U.S. Marines. They gave these to us as a prize at the factory. But we make Cutco for the kitchen, and we make the knives that protect our country. Cool. Now, we do sell a replica. This is one of the replicas right here, just so you guys can see. This is for hunters, and people can buy this. So people wanted this so bad all the time. We're like, this is not for civilians. That we made a replica. So we have the Cutco K-Bar, and it has a little double D-edge action right there. Oh yeah. So that one civilians can purchase. And then when they engrave it, it's $11 to engrave, and it looks beautiful. It's like silver on the engraving. So they can put like grandpa's name on it, or their brothers. Like these are really popular like gifts for Father's Day, for birthdays, for graduation presents. I told you guys yesterday, I can't stress enough, you're starting at the best freaking time. We're about to hit graduation season, and that's high school graduations, college graduations, a lot of weddings come up, a lot of gatherings, and a lot of time to go out, hunt, fish, and take the family out. So anyway, so just so you guys know that. So does that build credibility that our company makes the knives that protect our country? That's a credibility factor, right? So like things like that. We've been featured in Modern Marvels. You guys can look it up on the History Channel. We were on the show The World's Sharpest. We were on the travel channel on the Made in America show. And there was another one. It was like the science or whatever. Anyway, you can look them up. But there's different awards that we've won. We were featured in Forbes magazine back in the day for the ergonomics of the handles, and they won tons of awards. And Dr. Lamb, he made handles for BMW, for Porsche, for fighter jet pilots. Like he's the hand guy. Like anything that has really good ergonomics, he's the one that really got that going back in the like 70s, 80s. He's pretty killer. But anyway, you guys will see some of the facts. But I'm just saying, in general, you have to establish credibility. They need to know it's legit. All right. The third step in any sale is that you need to create a problem. Why do you think you need to create a problem? Yeah, right. If there's no problem, they don't need a solution, right? So think about this. Who's ever seen an infomercial? That's usually where they start. They're like, do you have problems sleeping at night? Right? Or do you struggle with overgrown weeds? Right? Like what are they doing? They're trying to create a problem because you need that in order to have a sale. All right. Who's ever seen the long infomercials that are like 30 minutes, an hour or more? All right. That you know what they're trying to do? They're trying to establish credibility. They're like, talk to the doctors. The doctors are talking about what science and this went into proactive, or then they have testimonials. I used to be da da da, and there's like real people. And you could be like, they could be paid actors, right? But if it's your sister, you're like, no, 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 that's legit. Like, that's my sister. Like, I know, right? But that's what they're trying to do in those long infomercials is hit number 2, because the short ones just start right at number 3, right? And when you have all 7, that's where you maximize sales for your company or organization or business or whatever you're doing. Cool. This is not a Cutco thing. Like I said, this is just a general psychology of sales. I've taught this to rooms of all different types of people, all different industries that you guys are getting right now. The 4th thing is we need to build value, not just say the solution, but build value for the solution, right? I think Proactive does this great, even in their short commercials, because they talk about how it's science backed by this, dermatologists says it, like, but it's just like, why is your solution so good? It's not just, well, here's Proactive and it costs this. Like, they tell you why it's so good. And so for Cutco, there's 5 features that make Cutco the best. And we're going to talk about that when we dig in. Once you've done that, now they're like, okay, Cutco's the thing, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm going to use Proactive. Step 5 is we have to figure out the specific need. Because Proactive, we can do for overnight blemishes, use this. For daily cleansing, use this. For whatever, right? So Cutco, we have Cutco, but do they want a set for their house, right? By the way, this is the set my grandma has had since 1957. She's had our homemaker. It didn't look like this. It looked like, this is my grandma's, by the way. I stole it. I gave her a new one. She's like, you can't. I'm like, I need it for training. But you'll notice it's a different color. This is from back in the 50s. It had this like marbly whatever, and then in the 70s they changed it to the classic and pearl, the more modern. But back then in the 70s, 60s, 70s, it was very like hippie, whatever. But you know what? That thing cuts just as sharp, and you can have it forever. You can if you want. If anyone wants to see it, be careful, don't stab anyone, please. All right. So we build value for the solution, all right? And then now we're finding the specific need, right? Like if you saw my grandma right now, you shouldn't see her because she's 90 years old, but she still has her Cutco. But she's not going to buy a homemaker. She has a homemaker, but she might buy pots and pans if she was like 60, or she might buy other things. So we have gardening tools. These are won tons of awards by gardening associations. They're plum and yellow, the 2 most found colors in the garden. Like you can go through sandstone, which is huge. I'm from Florida because it's like really hard, and those suckers go right through. Our pruners, I don't have the pruners here, but like how the scissors cut the pennies, that's how the pruners are to trees. Like gardeners are like, oh my God, like they're so easy. And so we've got, I don't know why these are all here. Here. But we've got, the hunting, the fishing, our fishing knife, and we'll go through like, it all comes together as one piece, right? Like this locks in, I can put this in here, I can close it up. But when you open this up, there's a blade sharpener, there's a hook sharpener. This guy right here, you can actually pull this up and it extends from 6 to 9 inches, depending the size of the fish. And they can pull it out for easy cleaning, okay? And they can rinse it, so you have no guts and all the crap stuck in it. So super clean, all right? So you've got this, I love this, like a Rambo fishing knife, all right? But you've got hunting stuff, you've got gardening stuff, you've got flatware, right? Forks and spoons. I sold 12 grand in 1 week in 2011 when I was competing with my team to show them the boss still got it, because I'd been running my office since 2003. And they're like, well, do you even, like one of my guys is a smart, I said, Kat, you haven't even been in the field in a while. I bet, I don't know. Like I was sharing, I go, oh yeah, you want to go head to head this week? And we went head to head for 1 week. I sold $13,000 that week around running the office. And I went back and saw a lot of my past customers and showed them the flatware, because the flatware came out in 2010 or 11. And so I went back to my customers from 02, 03. I'm like, you got to see this stuff. And I sold flatware chest, flatware chest, flatware chest. I upgraded because that's when our signature came out. So there's a set right above that, which I'll show you guys. And prior to 2010 or 11, we only had the homemaker and the complete. And then they made the signature family set because they were the most requested pieces. So now that is like our signature set for, a family that likes to cook. And we'll show you guys what's in there. but there's all. So that's what you're doing in step 5 is find the specific need. All right. So for us now, step 4, they go, okay, yeah, I want Cutco. But now step 5 is what do they need, right? Which set is best for them? Do they need accessories? Do they hunt? Do they need gifts for others? Like in figuring out what they need. Cool. Step 6 is we compare prices. All right, compare prices. Never ever talk about your prices without showing the competition or without having a gauge on what the competition's like. Cool. So you do that. And then step 7, AFTO. What does that stand for? Ask for the order. Cool. Ask for the order. That is the last step there. So this right here, you're welcome. You just got a $10,000 education on sales psychology. You guys can use that for anything in the future, but just understanding that process of like, do you have a relationship with someone? You know, do you have credibility for who you are, what you're doing, what you're offering, right? Are we creating a problem and then now showing how you solve it, right? And why you or your product or whatever is the best solution for that. Then are we figuring out the specific need for that person? You know, maybe you're a personal trainer and you're like, okay, they're going to need this plan. They're going to need the, you know, whatever it is. Then comparing prices with what's out there, sharing yours and saying, hey, would you want to move forward with that? All right. So that is your process right there. Voila, go have fun. No. So we're going to walk through the presentation right now so you guys can see it. It's super simple. I just wanted you guys to understand the psychology, because if you understand as you're reading what you're doing, like you're going to see how simple it is. All right. So I'm going to pull up here the practice demo. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right. And, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, I was like, I'm all right. I wanted to show you guys something here. Can you guys all see my screen, or do we have 2 screens going? All right. So this, because I didn't get to show this yesterday, but just so you guys can see, and once you set up your accounts, you're going to set these up tomorrow. All right. You'll be able to see this, but you can go to my account. You can go to personal reports. You can go to CPO and you can look and actually see the averages. So you guys can see here, our division, the Gulf Coast of Texas, we have a $512 average order. Cool. And so this shows like the office. And so this is our current office, and the pilot is 490, regional is 493. The national average right now is 484. It's always somewhere between 450 and 500. Well, not always, but like recently, it's like between 450 and 500. And then it'll show you your average order. Mine's a little bit higher. All right. But it'll show you your average order compared to the other ones. Now, here's when I first started. You guys want to know what my average order was my first weekend? $140. All right, that was my average order when I first started, and that's because I came from low-income household. I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment with 6 people. I was like, holy crap, this stuff costs a lot of money. I had no idea what things in a house cost. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later after we have our lunch break. But I had no clue. Like I didn't know what a nice bedroom set cost, or a nice sofa set, or a nice refrigerator. Like I had no clue. So, having no sense of paying for things in a house, I was just like, oh, and I'd show a lot of the smaller stuff. And so we're going to show you guys that. But then after my first weekend, I did enough appointments where I hit my first promotion. I had my mom's old boss, Carrie. She actually owned Cutco since the 70s. And when I saw her, she like added about $300 to her set. She was super excited. My best friend's parents had Cutco from 1976. Mr. and Mrs. Joan, they added a couple $100 of stuff to theirs. I had one customer bought one knife. Someone else had bought something else. And then I sold like a starter set. And so I got to about $1,300 in my first 3 days. But then I got training. All right. And now that would be 2 orders. All right. I didn't have it took me 6 orders to get there. So it was probably a little bit less, but anyway, it was about 140. I think it was 147, my average order. My closing percentage was like 40 something percent. It was less than 50% my first week. And that improved later, but my closing was first. When I came to advanced training, which we'll have some training for you guys. And even if you're back home, you can hop online. Monday, we're going to do some advanced training with you guys. But when I came to advanced training Monday, I was like, oh, like this made a lot more sense. And from Monday to the following Monday, I sold over almost $8,000. And so ended up my first week paycheck was $1,600. I didn't even know paychecks could have commas in them. I was like, what? I was like, oh my gosh. I wanted to like pull in small bills and like roll around in it. I'm like, I'm the richest person in the world. I had no clue. All right. But something that helped me, and I'll share this later and we'll share it again tomorrow, but you guys know, is that people, like if they're going to buy a $500 average order, all right, most of our customers are Middle class people that cook all the time. Cool. That's most of our customers. Not wealthy people that might have someone else do it or go out to eat all the time, but like middle class people that cook all the time. But also, the product you guys are representing is not a cheap product. Okay. Our gift sets, like small sets or pieces, like they can run anywhere from like 150 to 350 bucks. Cool. Our starter sets go from like 500 to $1,000 or 1,200 bucks, depending which ones. Our family sets, the bigger sets, they go from 1,600 to 3,000. Our Cutco kitchens are $5,000 to 10,000. Cool. So I want to make sure you guys know what you're representing. You know what you're. It's the best kind, but it's very much like Snap-ons and Craftsman tools that mechanics pay for. It's the same thing. If you guys look up on Snap-ons, you look at a wrench set is going to cost you $400 or $500. If you're going to buy a drill, it's going to cost a couple $100. If you're going to buy a wall unit, it's going to be a couple $1,000. Same exact thing. And so our average customer is not going to pay in full because they didn't plan on it. It wasn't in the budget, right? You kind of caught them off guard. And if someone can just spend $500 whenever they want, they're not middle class. That is upper income, by the way. All right. But here's how they pay for it. They don't pay for it all today. All right. My daughter's plaything. That over. All right. What they would do is they would use our Easy Pay. And that's what they would pay today. Who here, when you've been working full time or maybe not, have spent $100 before going out or doing something or going to Costco? Raise your hand, right? So this right here, it's easy, the Easy Pay. We're going to talk about prices, orders, all that tomorrow. Cool. Don't ask me about all that today. Like in terms of like orders and how to put them online. But our Easy Pay goes like this. And this afternoon, we'll talk more prices. But this is what the customer would put down. And when you guys look at this right here means that they need to put aside $25, okay, aside in the weekly budget. If somebody works full time, can they afford $25? Yes or no? Absolutely. All right. It's not whether they can afford it or not. It's just, do they feel it's worth it or not? And are they excited about it? Because people all spend money differently, right? My sister, she loves shoes, man. She'd be broke as heck, but there's a nice pair of shoes on sale. She's going to find a way. Like, she will max out her credit cards for shoes. That was not me. I wore Old Navy flip-flops, and actually they're somewhere around here. I think they're in there all the time. People are like, do you not have nicer ones? I'm like, yeah, I do. I have Tory Burch. I love my Old Navy flip-flops, okay? And I will not spend money, and I will never pay full price for shoes. Thank you, John Cradell. He bought me these. But I got them at the outlet. So when you look at a married couple, guys, that means that each person is putting aside $12.50. Do you guys see that? So that's important. My manager showed me that and I was like, oh, okay. And then that week when I sold $8,000, I was selling the crap out of $500 to $800 sets. They called me starter set queen. All right. Because this made sense. And I'm like, everyone I know can afford that. They all work, even if they don't work a super fancy job, they can afford $12 each. Like, that's what the breakfast sandwich costs them. You know, like, people spend that. So the big thing, and we're gonna talk about this more later, is not whether someone can afford Cutco or not. It's, are they, well, because if you're seeing target people, they have a house, they work full time, they're married, they can afford it. It's just, do they feel it's worth it? And are they excited about spending the money or not? So your excitement and enthusiasm and your energy as you go through the demo is so important. And that is why I say be on camera, right? Because the nonverbal, I can be really quiet and shy. And I could be like, oh, you gotta see this. Oh, auntie, you're gonna really like this. This is really cool. And they can see my excitement, right? Even if I'm more quiet. But if I'm on the phone, you gotta make up for it with tonality. So you gotta, oh, you gotta look at this and like, oh, check this out. And you've gotta be a little bit more animated. All right. And that's what I had to walk Matthew. I'm like, Matthew, I know you're not naturally, he's a very introverted, quiet guy who was a computer information systems major. And he's like, I think I'm gonna be too nervous on camera. I said, do it on the phone, but just let me tell you, you have to be a little bit more skilled and you have to be a little bit more animated, which is more out of your comfort zone. So both are gonna be uncomfortable. What's less uncomfortable? He's like, the phone. I was like, okay, then do it on the phone. But just know that on the phone, they can't see you. So you have to be a bit more animated. When you have the camera on or you're in person, you can use your nonverbals and do a lot with that, even if you're more quiet. All right. And if you're like super loud and crazy like me, shut up and be a little bit calmer. I know. My boss was like, you got to slow your roll, especially when you're close. You got to slow down. All right. But just knowing that. So everyone good there? All right. So let's dig in and look at this. But I just wanted to show you guys that because, you know, obviously that being the average, some of you, you're going to have sales that are smaller. You're going to have sales that are bigger. You're going to have all over the place. The more confident, the more fun you have, the more fun your customers have with you during the presentation, the better your sales are going to be. The product's amazing. Cutco sells Cutco. I mean, you cut the freaking penny, they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And they get to use the products. Like, you guys, we'll get to chop some stuff up later. It really does sell itself. So let's go to here. So we've got your practice demo, all right? And so when you are doing a demo, this is what your customers will see. And let me see do I have a practice demo thing here? Did you set it up on yours or mine? Did on mine. Oh, here we go, Cutco appointment. So I'm gonna pretend to be the customer right now. I just want you guys to see what the customer sees, okay? So this, if I'm a customer and I got my email, right, that you sent me, and it does it automatically when you set the appointment. So I'm like, oh, I have my appointment right now with Shamir. I go here and you guys see there, I'm just gonna say, okay, let me join the presentation. And so on my screen, I'm going to see whatever you have on the left. You guys see that? All right, so again, this is the customer view, this is your view. So on your view, you're always gonna see what the customer sees. What up, Josh? Josh is, yeah, I was like somewhere over there. So on your screen, you're gonna see, excuse me, what they see is on your left and what you're saying is on your right, okay? And you control it. So right now, like if I'm in here and I'm talking about this with my customer, all right? I'm going through this on the bottom here. If I changed the screen and I say next, all right, look at their screen. Cool? So automatically, whatever you're doing, they're gonna see it. So you could be sitting right next to them and reading your script, and on their computer, they're gonna see this. And so you're going through and talking about it, you know. So when you guys do live demos, you can either read from your phone and let them have your laptop as a presentation and control it from your phone, or if you're blind like me, have your laptop. You can either be side by side just like this, or you can play Battleship and be across. You know, you guys don't know what that is. You're too young. But you have it right there. All right. So just so you guys know. But we start. So we'll start from the beginning. All right. So you're catching up in the beginning. Cool. How are you? How's this? How that? You're just you're building rapport, right? You're chit chatting. You want to make sure to let them know, hey, I emailed you a link to join my presentation. It'll come from Cutco Service. It should have the name in the subject line. By the way, when you guys set the appointment in the app, am I correct? They automatically get that email once it's scheduled. Cool. So you don't have to actually send it to them. But if they didn't get it, yeah. We're not even teaching that right now. So if you're doing a video call, you're on FaceTime, you're on Google Meets, or you can just jump on Zoom with them only for the visual aspect. Cool. And this is important for you guys. You want to keep things really simple, and especially as you go into the summer, because most people are not going to catch everything as fast as you, and so you want to go bite size. That's more of an advanced training thing. So then you have you're like, oh, did you get it or whatever? Just make sure, you know, launch the Zoom. I wouldn't worry about that right now. We'll go over that more in advanced training, and if you're going to be doing more, I'm not going to talk about that now. Then, you know, have them join the presentation, but I just go right into here. I'm like, all right, so let me tell you a little bit about my goals. Now, I will tell you guys, our top guys, this is a newbie, but I'll tell anybody who wants, I can share this with you tonight, but this week, anyone that I'm coaching, and if you're trying to get on our Hall of Fame wall, you know, and make $2 to $5 grand your first week, the number one thing I do with people, and that's what Hannah was doing this morning. That's earlier this morning, one of our other girls came by and I worked on this with her yesterday, is what I'm going to show you guys right now. And that is, they have a goal slide. Okay. So they actually pop this up, or they'll email this to the customer and they'll say, hey, so just a little bit about me. You know, I graduated from Cy Park. I went, you know, I'm going to Lone Star right now. It's National Honor Society. And so Miasia would share about, she played volleyball. She was involved in theater. You know, she's like, some of my goals, you know, I want to open my own theater one day. I want to, you know, finish college and graduate debt free. She loves acting, you know, and she's like, I don't know if I want to be an actor, be in psychology, but she would tell them like, I love this because it's letting me meet so many different types of people. It's letting me really gain some great professional skills, you know, and if I own my own theater one day, like I want to learn how to run a business. And so this business is teaching me a lot of those foundations. And so Cutco has a lot of really cool things that can really help me for my future. And so these are resume boosters that are awesome. Like they have a consistency club, which is something I'm working for. There's a President's Club letter. I don't know if some of you guys checked it out earlier, but this is a hand sign letter from the president of a $250 million company recommending you for whatever internship, grad school program, or job you're trying to get. Cool. Pretty damn good letter to have. So you guys can win that letter this spring. I think all you have to sell right now is 6,000 between March and April. And I know we're going to have people doing that this week. All right, maybe even this weekend. So you get that letter. There's the scholarship, there's the All-American, there's a team builder. We're going to talk more about all that tomorrow. All right. But like a lot of cool things. So I'm like, yeah, they have all these cool things available for us. And the biggest thing that I'm most excited about, and this was Miasia, she's like, I want to run my own business and I have a chance to do this entrepreneurship internship where I could run my own business next summer, like after I graduate. And so there's a leadership academy where I learn all these really cool skills, learn the foundations of money management, communication, leadership, social media, advertising, marketing, and people management. And so this is something that I'm working hard to get into. And just so you guys know, the next time I interview will be in July, in August, because the next Leadership Academy will run is this fall. All right. So just so you guys are aware. And then I have, this, and this was her goal for the summer. And this was 2 years ago. But she's like, my goal is to complete 150 demos. I want to sell $35,000. And this was hers when she first started. I just kept it because I thought she did such a beautiful job with it. It looks really pretty. I also have my old one that's not that pretty. And gentlemen, you can, ladies, gentlemen, you can do whatever you want with it. But she would share with them like any things that she had been recognized for, like she sold $6,000 her first week, and she was sharing that. If there's a current contest, which you guys will have your fast start. This was a different contest happening then. And then the last thing is the referrals, right? And so this is the sponsorship. By the way, if you guys actually, she did a great job with this and really explained the sponsorship. We're going to show you tomorrow, but she's like, hey, this is my sponsorship. It has nothing to do with sales. It's just a free way you can help me out by just introducing me to nice people like mom introduced me to you, or when you see a friend like Joanne introduced me to you. And so I'll tell you how that works later, but that's the record for the summer of how many referrals, and that's the all-time record. So if you break the record, you actually get free Cutco. So just so you know that. But let's walk through, let me show you the presentation, and then they'll just dive in. And what they do is, since they don't do this part, they do it there. They just go straight to Cutco's awesome. All right. So actually I like the app. So when you're diving in, but right now you guys being brand new, we're just going to go through and do your regular, here you're like, hey, do you mind if I share some of my goals? I'm working with Cutco because, and letting them know about it. I just started my fast start contest. I have 10 days to blank. And then actually, Shamir, go ahead and pick up here. If I sell enough Cutco, go ahead and read off there. See it? Jacob.
From the president and CEO of our company. Also the chance to win an All-American scholarship to help the school. There's one more quick thing that we have to do. The company has created an app that will allow you to give me feedback on my presentation to help me towards my goals.
All right, perfect. And here, guys, you guys can edit. You can, where's the more? Oh, here's the more. So you guys can actually, like on the top where it says more, it doesn't want to click. There we go. You guys can have a thermometer right there. Cool. And so they basically were mimicking what I used to do with the PowerPoints. But in my book, which actually is in the office, I'll show you guys later, but we didn't have all this technology 23 years ago. So I had a blue book. And so all these thermometers and things, like I had pictures of it all in my book. Like what you saw in Miasia's PowerPoint, that was the front of my blue book. All right. And then we basically National put a thermometer here so that, we could see that. So you guys can use that if you want to, but I'll tell you right now, if you really want to go after it and go big, it's good to have your own little PowerPoint. It just shows that you care about the job too, and you're showing it. Oh, you have yours? Let's check out Millie's. All right. So Millie's got, so she's got her sales goal right here. She's got, her automatic sponsorship paper where she talks about that and how to coach them right in the front. We gotta doctor you up, girl. That's all you got. You see Andy, he has like 20 pages before he gets to town. I'm like, Andy, he's like, that's my dog. No. But anyway, so you've got, so right here though, you at least have the President's Club showing, the All-American, and there's different awards and recognition that you can talk about. Cool, just getting started. Then, so I'm like, Auntie, go ahead and there's an app. And so you guys wanna make sure they download the app. How do they receive the link for the app?
You just have them either scan the QR code. So Kathy, if you want to scroll down on the left.
Oh, just right there. The same.
Scan. Now, as you can see next to the I guys on that screen, it also tells you they can either search it up in their app store. And My Cutco rep, or they can scan.
So you guys just scroll this up so that they're seeing that on their thing, and they can just scan it to download the app. Now, here's the deal. You don't have to sit and wait for the app to download. Some people might download fast. Some people's phones go slow as heck. We don't necessarily need that. At the end, they can just fill out the information at the end because they're going to give you some feedback on how you did, answer a couple questions. And that same app is what we're going to use for the referrals. Cool. But all your work is tracked within that app. So they can go to the App Store and search, or they can do that, or you guys can copy this link and text it to them. Everyone good? All right. So that way they have that, because again, we will need that uploaded at the end. So you want to have them download at the beginning to make sure it's ready to rock. All right. Optional, you could play this video. You don't need to. You could just tell them to download the app and we're going to use it. I'm going to play the video real quick so you guys can hear it and see what it is. All right. But again, you do not have to do this. All right. There he is. Too much Wi-Fi's lagging. We might not be able to because the Wi-Fi, since we have so many people, which was not my plan. Whatever, you guys can watch it later. It's just a minute video talking about what the app is, what it's going to do, how they can give feedback, yada, yada. Cool. So that's what it is. So then we actually start the presentation. All right. So you guys see there the homemaker, which is the set right there, the one my grandma had. You got the signature, which is right there, which came out about a decade and a half ago. And then the complete set, which is what I have in my house. And that's all the basic tools and all the specialty knives. And that set is not for everybody. That set is for people who love to cook, love to entertain, have big families, which is why my family had it, or they just love to have the best of everything. Okay. And I learned that from my first complete set sale with my dad's old boss, Donna, and her husband. And when I did their demo, and I knew Donna, like she does not cook. All right. And they're very wealthy and they go out to eat all the time. And I was doing the demo with my dad's old boss, and we got to this part, and she saw the complete set picture in my book, and she's like, "Oh, what's that?" I was like, "Donna, you don't need that. Like, you don't cook." And she's like, "Oh, but it's so beautiful, right?" And in the white, oh, it's stunning. That's what I have in my house. I'll send a picture to you guys tomorrow. It's a showpiece. You walk in and you're like, wow, like you have this gorgeous set with the white handles. And she goes, "It's beautiful." And I said, "I know, but you don't cook." I go, "You don't need that." All right, don't say that to someone. Don't fight them if they want to buy it all right? They're going to love it. She looks at me and she goes, "Kathy, what are knives for?" And I was like, "For cooking." She goes, "No, you're wrong. Knives are for cutting. So I'm going to order in my food and I'm going to cut it with my pretty knives." I was like, okay. All right. So you do have upper income people. And by the way, y'all, you live in one of the top cities in the US, maybe in the world, but definitely in the US. Houston has one of the highest economies in the entire United States. Do you guys know that? And highest per capita income in the US. All right. One of the highest. I think Austin might now be matching us because of the move of all the California people that went to Austin post-COVID, But we have an amazing city with so many families, so much cooking, so many middle-class neighborhoods all over the place. Like, it's ridiculous. And how many more? Like, even out west, like all the schools that have opened in Katy, out to Bridgeland and Side Park, and all these schools that like didn't exist 10 years ago, like it just keeps growing and growing. So that's a beautiful place to have a business in a place where literally our target market is everywhere. All right. So you've got the 3 sets there. We're going to start there. Adam, go ahead and start us at the top there.
Like I said on the phone, you don't have to get anything, but keep a lookout. If you do see something you like for gifts, we can get you the best deal today. And not only will you be getting a great product, you'd also be helping me out towards my goals. I'll continue.
All right. Yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
Also, I'm only able to work through referrals. So another goal I have today is that you like me and Cutco enough to recommend me to some of your friends. Cutco is awesome. You can buy sets or pieces, and we have tons of accessories, gifts, hunting tools, and more. We also have interest-free monthly investment options, so you don't have to pay for it all at once. And the more you buy at once, the more you save. Just so I know, do you cook because you have to, like to, or love to?
Cool. And whatever they say, like, because if they say they have to, it's like, oh, you're going to love Cutco because it makes it so much easier, right? If they like it, they're going to love Cutco because like they like to cook and they're going to enjoy it. If they love to cook, they're going to be obsessed. All right. So no matter what, we know like, oh, you're going to love Cutco. All right. So this, as you get more advanced, and you'll see, like, if you watch me do the demo, you want to level it up. Like, give some examples of things that might be for gifts. For instance, watch. Hey, like I said on the phone, you don't have to get anything. I'm like, but keep a lookout. And this is where I say, I'm like, because if you guys have any weddings or birthdays or graduation gifts or anything coming up, like, you know, if you do see something you like for you or for gifts, we can get you the best deal today. And I keep going there, but I'm just kind of like plugging that way. They go, oh wait, I do have a wedding coming up. Or, oh, that's a good idea, right? Like Mother's Day gift, or you know. So I want their juices flowing because I want them watching, and I'll talk about this more Monday. But I want them watching the presentation with buying eyes. Even if they said to me on the phone, we're not going to get anything, they said, we're not going to get anything. And here I'm saying, hey, like I said on the phone, you don't have to get anything. I'm like, but keep a lookout. I'm like, because if you have any birthdays or weddings or things coming up, I'm like, not only getting a heck of a product, but it helps me out too, you know? But I'm like, and they're like, oh, okay, okay. So now they're like, all right, let's see if we see something we might need. But if not, I know she gets paid just to do it. Everyone good? Like, that's how I want them watching. So anyway, you've got everything there, super simple. Then we go to the next. And so we just finished step one. Cool. That was step one. We were building rapport, chit chatting, connecting, sharing why we were working. We got the app set up. And then now we're digging into the actual presentation. Cool. So step two, what is our goal in step two? Yep. All right, go for it. And it's Kasi? Okay, go for it.
Let's go. Today I'll tell you why Cutco is the top selling American-made brand in the U.S. Then we'll take a look at our product line, and then we'll review prices and specials at the end. Let me tell you a little bit about our company. Since 1949, all Cutco knives have been made in the United States in our factory in Olean, New York.
Yep, Olean, New York.
We sell over 200 million worth of Cutco annually and have our 60 million customers. It's one of the only products you can buy once, use every day, and never have to replace. Cutco is a proud producer to many
K-bar
knives used by both military and law enforcement agents. Cutco is also involved with many local and national charities.
Perfect. All right. And by the way, that's the first time he read it. And great job. Thank you for everyone who's read so far. But you guys see how like conversational it's made to be? And the first time you should actually butcher it. You guys sound great. I was like stumbling all over. I was like, Olena. The second, you know, or by the time, you know, you said it 3 times, you're like, oh, this feels a lot more comfortable. 5 times, 7 times. By the time you said it 10 times, you're like, all right, I got this, right? So it's all about repetition. Every time you say it, it's going to sound more and more natural. Now, if you are head of the thespian club, as I've had people, and like the person I was role playing and training, which is theater for those who don't know, he was like, I was like, I'm like, are you serious? Like, did you practice this at home? He's like, I'm in theater. I'm like, okay, makes sense. So like, don't compare yourself. All right, that's what they do for a living. But that's what we're going to practice here in a couple minutes, just so you guys can kind of get a run through there. But you guys see, like, it's all right here. And again, your customer is seeing on their side. How do I close this? Why is this? What? I was like, why is this there? I don't know. Don't open the goals slideshow. No, on the first page. I don't know what it did. Let me see here. I want to go. I want to remove this.
If you just refresh your other, refresh the other slide.
I mean, it is moving around. It's moving slides behind it. I'm like, why is this goal thing still there? Well, we'll do it again. There we go. All right. So back to here. And again, you can always maneuver over here. So we just did Cutco's awesome. So we just did the company, and now we're going to go into the product. All right. So to start off, I'd like to show you 2 products to demonstrate the quality of Cutco. Did you guys use those 2 products? Who used the scissors? All right, pretty cool. Who used the vegetable peeler? If you didn't get to use the peeler, you got to use it later. I was telling the guys this morning, like, it's literally like one of my most favorite things. Where do they go? Because when I was, oh, that's what you guys put here. When I was a little girl, I don't know if you guys have ever seen peelers that are like metal. All right, but it was literally just like a piece of metal down, and then I don't know, probably dollar store from the 90s. But anyway, my dad made the best mashed potatoes in the freaking world. All right, but we had to peel the potatoes, and so like that thing like dug in your hand. It was like the most. I'm like, oh, we would do it ever so often because it just sucked to do it. This right here, if you guys didn't see it, like it literally like no pressure, but you can also go back and forth and peel the whole thing so fast. And it works for cucumbers. I use it on acorn squash. I use it on all different like root vegetables. We do a lot of butternut squash at our house and do like soups and stuff, but it's like, and you can just peel it. It's so amazing. So anyway, well, if you didn't get to use it, you'll get to use it later. But here, if you guys have it, you guys can show that. And again, you guys can win stuff. And there's also additional samples once you're working that you can buy at like 70% off if you want to. Not required, but there's available. We get some perks with that. So you're going to play the video. Again, on the bottom, whatever, I can move what video or what slide right there on the bottom left, right? And still be on the same. So I'm going to play this video. And when you're doing it, you don't want to just be quiet during the video. Anytime you're playing videos, you want to be like, if you're like, you guys ever watch like sports on TV or anything? I mean, it could be like the dog walking, but yeah, the commentators, right? And so that's what you're a commentator. So when you guys are showing this, I'm like, okay, I don't think any of our videos are going to load. Well, whatever. It goes through and it's cutting. And so as it's going, I'm like, oh, check this out. These are the scissors. And I'm letting him know as it's playing, you're talking about it. You're like, yeah, these are high carbon stainless steel. It makes them really strong and versatile. They can be used in the kitchen. They can be used in the garden. You can cut everything. So like as the video is going, don't stay quiet. Just talk through it. Okay. And share your experiences. Anything you cut, when it comes to kind of like, the more you can share real things, the better. So you can be like, oh yeah, when I was in training, like I cut a penny with it. Like, did you see the penny cut there? Be like, I did that. You know, you guys can have that.
I didn't have this year when I started. I was like, look, I cut this in training.
Yeah.
The customer was like,
Yeah.
but it's a video. You know, it's like, good work.
There you go. Grab your half a penny or make a flower or something later. We'll do penny origami this afternoon. So anyway, so then the vegetable peeler. So again, let them, if you're in person, right, let them use it. So you always, like if in person, you want to cut, you want to take it apart, you want to hand it to them, let them use it. If, you know, in person, absolutely let them use that peeler. If not, tell them, hey, when I was in training, I was using this. Like share that, not just this does this. Like when, oh, you used it, Jimmy? And you're like, oh yeah, that thing was so good. Be like, it was so fast and smooth. They're like, oh, okay, right? Because they're going to trust you more than just like watching a video. So anytime you can share personal experiences, it's always a great thing. All right. Who in here, you have some Cutco. Has anyone bumped into anyone yet that you know has Cutco? Who do you know? How long has he had it? Okay, cool. So you guys can all share that too. Like one of the guys in my training, they've had it for over 10 years. Who do you guys know that has had it for 20 years or more? Anybody? Who? How long has she had it? Nice. All right. You helped her sharpen them up, like how to send them back. You always want to, when you bump into people who've had them for more than 20 years, you want to make sure that to tell them, hey, go on Cutco.com. They're sharpened for free. You just got to pay the shipping and then like $12 or $15 check inside for them to mail back. But you literally get like brand new knives. If they can't make them look and feel like the one you guys have was sent back, right? Obviously, like this is from the 50s, but they'll refurbish them. They'll make them be like brand new. But if they can't, they'll just replace it for free. All right. That's something that when people buy Cutco, they buy it once, they use it every day, and they're going to have it forever. All right. Who else do you guys know has had them over 20 years?
She had one spatula spreader for like 35 years. So, and then now she has like a whole set. But whenever I first met her, she had just one knife.
Oh yeah. It's going to be like some of my friends in college that bought spatulas from me and pocket knives for a long time. Who else? Who do you know?
Yeah, my friend's mom's mom. So my friend's grandma. She had a set for about 53 years. I think it was.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it's so, I love bumping into people. Like when I started, my youth pastor sold Cutco in the 80s, so they loved it. One of the ladies in my youth group, Barbara Bourgeois, she had Cutco from the 70s, but her mom, Miss Elaine Anthony, she had Cutco from 1952. It was the OGs. They didn't even have, I'll show you, I have one. They don't have the ergonomics yet. The ergonomics didn't start till 1953. So they had straight handles. Like this is like OG from I think this is from 1951 or 1952. But yeah, and then we got a double D edge put on it because the double D edge didn't even start till later. So if you actually bump into someone who has it from like 1949, 1950, 51 or 52, it's not going to have these handles because they didn't do the first handle until the early 50s, or like, I think it was 1953. I have to look, but early 50s is when they started the ergonomics. So my grandma's from 1957 had that handle. So anyway, it's just, again, I hope that gives you guys a little bit of pride in what you're representing. You're not representing some garbage. Like people are going to have this like forever. So it's pretty awesome. All right. So now what's our goal? We need to create a what? What's step 3? So step 1, we connected. We shared what we're doing, going through. Step 2, we did what? Establish credibility. So we told them a little background about the company, where it's made, guaranteed forever. We make K-Bar for the U.S. Marines. We showed them the scissors and the peeler. Does that add credibility? For sure. Okay. Now step 3, we go to create a, all right. So what's the problem? Their knives stink. All right. So now we're going to go through common problems with common knives. And so I always joked around with my customers here. I'm like, hey, Miss Susie, if nothing else, you are going to get some knife knowledge here today. All right. You're going to get a little knife knowledge. Oh, what happened? What did I do? I'm not good with technology. There we go. All right. What happened? There we go. All right. So I'm like, so Miss Susie, most people have the world's most expensive set of knives, right? And you're showing them this. So they're seeing this on their side. And you're like, this is the most expensive set of knives. Anyone want to tell me why this is the most expensive set of knives? Huh? I'm not talking about Cutco. I'm talking about what you're looking at right now. Why are these the most expensive set of knives? Yeah, you got it. All right. It's called planned obsolescence. They're made to be replaced. They're not made to last forever. And so when you're replacing stuff over and over again, even if it's cheap, you actually end up spending a lot more in the long run a lot of times. So like my grandma, we were very low income, but my grandma owned Tupperware. My grandma had something called a rainbow vacuum that was guaranteed. My grandma had bought us all JanSport book bags for school because JanSport was guaranteed. We had LL Bean is a brand and they guarantee all their stuff for like playing sports. Like our toiletry bags were LL Bean with our name on it. You know, Zippo lighters are guaranteed. Like there's a lot of great products that have guarantees. But my grandma, since we were little, was like, any time that you can buy something that's guaranteed forever, buy it, period. She's like, because over the long time from replacing things, you're going to spend a lot more money. And not just over the long term replacing, but also what happens as years go on? Inflation. So things are going to cost a lot more later, you know? So they buy it then. One, they never have to buy it again, which saves money by itself. But two, they don't have to replace later when things cost more as well, you know? So anyway, so this right here, little knife knowledge for you guys. So I'm not going to read. You guys can read and it's all right here. I'm just going to do it for you real quick. Like just give you a little, my office is over there and I don't want to walk to it. So pretend I'm holding knives. All right. But that's with wood. All right, guys, they're disgusting. Wood absorbs everything. It's super porous. All right. So if you guys can look up online, like wood cutting boards and things, there's all sorts of things that like, it's so unsanitary because wood's porous. So everything that's in there, like the juice from the chicken, they're like, it is not good. My grandma knew that. So she would Clorox her cutting boards like every week. And I was like, and I didn't think of it when I was little, but now looking, I'm like, okay, you didn't want the germs, but you're literally putting like all this toxin, all these chemicals on the board. But she's like, oh, we have to kill the germs, you know, because wood absorbs. So she always Clorox the cutting boards every week. Bless her heart. But anyway, wood is gross, all right? And some are treated and whatever, but they're not made to put in the dishwasher, all right? And if you get the lower ones, like you'll see them start falling apart. I had a customer once, and I have one in the office. When we do cutting, I'll see if I can find some of them and show them to you. But it was like kind of like cracked from splintering, just from like being in the water and stuff, because that's what happens to wood. And it had like little maggots in it. Like it was disgusting, all right? I was like, oh my God, all right? So that is why some people say, screw wood, I'm just going to buy plastic, right? But that's with cheap plastic, they chip, they crack, they melt, like they don't last as long. Like you leave it by the burner, it can go. Or a lot of the cheaper plastic ones too, you'll see like the blade's just kind of glued in. And so it doesn't have good balance. And so you could be cutting, and I have some examples of that, and it just breaks. Yep. And that happened to one of my assistants. He said, oh yeah, when I was young, I was using a knife and I was cutting, and like the tang popped and it cut him, right? What happened? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, yeah. So you want the blade to go all the way through whenever you buy a knife, right? You want the blade to go all the way through the handle because it's better balance and it's better support. All right. So again, sets with wood, disgusting. Sets with plastic, chip, crack, melt, they just don't last long. As far as the construction, which I was just talking about, most knives have a partial tang. So what is it? Let me have one of those. That's fine. What is the tang? The tang is the part of the metal that goes into the handle. Cool. So some are just glued in. Some, like you'll see the tang just kind of goes up to here, like go home and you can look at knives, right? Some it might go to here. Ours go, all the way through, right? And any good knife, like Who Stops You, like the blades go all the way through, because then you have really good balance. It's not going to pop. It's not going to break. It's not going to fall apart, like others will. All right. And then these little guys, the rivets, most rivets on lower grade knives are brass or stainless steel. And so those alloys, they expand, they contract, they can pop out. You get all the gook around it. It's pretty nasty. All right. Then as far as the steels, two most common steels used for knives are stainless and carbon, okay? Now carbon is the one you see on the top picture there, okay? So with the carbon, carbon steel, guys, they recommend for a lot of outdoor stuff, axes, machetes, even some fillet knives, people using fillet knives, they keep a very good edge. I call carbon knives the will knives because they will stay sharp, but they will also rust and corrode, okay? Then you have stainless steel. Stainless steel is recommended for all your kitchen stuff, all right? Why is stainless steel recommended? Because it's clean, all right? So everything in the kitchen, oh, stainless steel, stainless steel. But for knives, it's not great because it's a very soft metal. So it dulls very easily, okay? So I call that the won't knife because it won't rust, bitter, corrode, but it won't stay sharp, all right? So all of your high-end knives, your German knives, your Japanese, all your high-end, it's actually a combination of the two. They're a high carbon stainless steel. That's a surgical steel. Like in hospitals, surgical instruments are made with a high carbon stainless steel. And that's what our knives are made with as well. Cool? So then the last thing are the edges. You have serrated edges. Serrated edges are when they have little teeth on it. And by the way, well, I'll show you guys ours in a moment. Ours are not serrated, all right? Serrated edges look like this, and they rip and tear, all right? So this is a serrated edge. Looks like this, okay? And they just rip and tear at whatever they're cutting. That's a serrated edge. Cutco has an exclusive double D edge, all right? And the double D edge actually, and if you look closely at the knife and you can grab it and look at it, looks like this, all right? I'm not that great of an artist, but this is what it looks like, all right? So these little points are not what's doing the cutting. These little points are like little protectors keeping the cutting surfaces off the board because the board is what's doing your dulling, right? So this cuts forward, this cuts down, and this cuts backwards. Cool? And so over time, this is what's dulling. Is the cutting dulling? Nope. This is dulling. And eventually, we got to get that back on there, okay? But that's how these will stay sharp for at least 7, if not 10 plus years without ever sharpening them because of how this unique edge is made. Cool? So again, the points here are protectors. They're not the cutting. Here, that's what's cutting. It's ripping it, all right? So people see edges and naturally think, oh, that's serrated. If they're a good cook or they know about cooking or they're a chef, oh, I don't use serrated. All right? You don't want that. It rips and tears your food. What do chefs use? Straight edges, all right? So straight edge, I guess I don't have to draw it, but what is it? It's a straight edge, all right? So straight edges, you have the cutting edge is directly coming in contact with the cutting board. So what happens? They dull very easy. So straight edges have to be sharpened every time they're used. And when you buy cutlery in the store, you go to Williams-Sonoma, you go to Macy's, wherever you buy good cutlery, it tells you on the user guide for Wusthof, and it says sharpen after every chef knows that. What do they do before they start cutting? Sharpen their knives every single time. We are not made for chefs for multiple reasons, although there are some that like it. Chefs don't hold the handles. They use something called a pinch grip. They hold it differently. Chefs love sharpening their knives. We are made to average middle moms, okay? I don't know any moms, like I can't wait to sharpen my knives before I cook right now, all right? Are you effing kidding me? I'm like trying to get in and out as quick as possible. And I love to cook. I sure as hell would not want to be sharpening my knives every time. So the German ones and the Japanese, they are made for chefs. And they loved it. That's like part of their thing and their practice. You know, people who love cars and wash and wax their cars every week. I'm like, my car has not been washed in like 2 years. It needs to be washed. Not my thing. All right. But anyway, but why do chefs use it? Because they give clean cuts in the food and you want that with whatever you're cutting. Well, Cutco gives those clean cuts too. And even some hunters are like worried, and you can read a bunch of testimonials from hunters because even with our hunting knives, you know, they're like, oh no, you can't do serrated for the deer skin or whatever. And you can grab this and it'll cut right through just like a straight edge, and it stays sharp way longer than straight edges. So I even tell hunters, I said, try it. And if you don't like it, send it back. I would not tell you that if we didn't have so many testimonials from hunters who are blown away because it's not a serrated, you're not sawing, and it cuts just like a straight, but it stays sharp way longer than a straight edge does. And they love it. All right. So this is the gut hook to like cut this up to get the guts out. Sorry if you're anti-animals, I'm sorry, but we're in Texas, so I can say most of this. And it's like rodents. And then this is our deluxe hunting knife with sterling silver on here. It's gorgeous. All right. And they can get it they can get a straight edge. They do have an option of either edge, but I'm like, just try it. I'm like, the company will exchange it for you if you really don't like it, but I've never had a hunter return it. Okay, in 23 years. They're like, wow, you were right. And like, it's made, they know what you're doing with it. And we don't want to be replacing stuff for no reason. Everything's guaranteed forever. So obviously it works. Whichever one you're most excited about. I'm serious. But I'm in a demo, I'm like, oh my gosh. And they're like, oh, okay, I want to try it. Like, a sale is made from a transfer of enthusiasm from one person to another. If I said, Adam, there's this restaurant. Oh my gosh, you've got like live music. You can see the sunset. So, you know, I'm like, I want to go. Or I want to take my girlfriend on a date there. You know, like I just sold you on going. I just got excited about that restaurant, and why not that one? But it's and to really answer your question, it's changed. But I think it also has to do with the same thing, because people get excited about the new thing. So then they're like, oh, there's the new Outdoorsman. That's been the most sold, right? The deluxe hunting knife has been around the longest. When I started in 02, that was the most sold for the beautiful ones. But some people like the other grip, that's the non-slip grip. Like these have the grip, have the thermal resin handle. So they could slide, right? If it's bloody or if it's wet or whatever, it could slide, where those have the non-slip grip. So some people really like the non-slip grip. And then for the fishing knife, the orange sells the most. And it was because if it drops in the water, it's easier to see than the black handle. So, but for looks, you know, the black is, I think black looks nicer on the fishing knife, but for functionality, there's a lot of people that love the orange because of that, because you can spot it faster, right? So anyway, but anything here. So again, to recap, set two most common handles. What are they? Handle material. Sorry, handle material. What are the most common handle materials? Wood and plastic. Thank you. Sets with wood. There's not anything tricky. Sets with wood. All right. What's good? They're disgusting. All right. They absorb everything. They're gross. Sets with plastic. What's wrong there? Chip, crack, melt. All right. And what's good is that it doesn't absorb all the crap. What's bad is that they fall apart. They don't last as long. So actually the wood, what's good is they last longer, which is not great for the bad part because so much stuff gets in there. So wood normally lasts longer than plastic, but it's disgusting. Plastic, you know, won't last as long, but it stays cleaner. Your the two steels that are most used. Anyone remember? Carbon and stainless. All right, carbon, that's the will or the won't. The will, because it will stay sharp, but it will also rust and corrode. All right, and then stainless is your won't knife. And you don't have to say this to the customers. I'm just making sure you guys understand. The stainless, you can look, if it's nothing on it, you're like, oh, it won't, because it's the won't knife. It won't rust, pit, or corrode, but it won't stay sharp. All right, because it's dull. And then what's the tang? Anyone remember what the tang is? Yep, the part of the blade that goes into the handle. Cool, that's your tang. So do you want a partial tang or do you want a full tang? Why? Better balance, better support. Beautiful. All right. You guys just learned a lot about knives, probably more than you ever thought you'd know. All right. And then the little things that hold it together. Anyone remember what those are called? This was the hardest question. They're called rivets. Again, you don't need to have any of this memorized, but they're called rivets. And those are what hold the knives together, or sometimes they're glued in, right? But we use the higher, which you guys will see here in a moment. All right. So that is all your knife knowledge here. And then at the bottom, you're like, let me show you how Cutco has solved all these problems. All right. And actually, before I go into the guarantee, we're gonna rewind, and we're gonna actually do a little bit of role play just to get you guys practicing. And we're gonna start just right here on page 4 is where we're gonna start. All right. We're skipping the goals part, which is one of the most important, but I know you guys we haven't worked on that as much yet. So I just want you guys to get some run throughs, which is the script, right? Because the other part is just you talking. This is just the script. So partner 1, you're going to read this page. Partner 2, you're going to read this page. Partner 1, you can go through this page. Partner 2, you can start this and you guys can switch midway, or you can just do the whole page and then switch and go here on the bottom left, back to A, and we start, or actually no, to 4. So we're going 4 until 5C or whatever, till junk knives. So 4, 5A, 5B, 5C. That's all we're doing. Good. All right. So there's 4 pages. You're just going to flip back and forth. Then you're going to flip flop and you're gonna go back and forth there. And guys, the goal with this is you're going through, you're gonna be with a partner, and I'm gonna actually match you ladies up, you guys up. Steven, you're gonna be with Jacob, you gentlemen up, and then we'll do a trio here. Cool, the three of you guys. Or actually, no, Emilio, are you cool to role play? Can I have Chance come role play with you? Okay, so you'll go role play with him. But check this out, very important process, all right? Very simple, but very important. As your partner is reading, do not look at them. You read along. And then you're reading, you read, no eye contact. Introduce yourself first if you haven't met, but listen. You're seeing it, you're hearing it, you're reading it, you're saying it. You're hearing it, you're seeing it, you're reading it, you're saying it. You're hearing, what starts happening? The human mind remembers so much of what it sees, so much of what it hears, so much of what it says. And so we're going through that process on purpose. We're not looking at each other. We're literally reading at the same time. One's reading out loud, the other one reading to themselves to just get comfortable with the material. And then we're going to flip flop when I tell you guys there. Sounds good? All right. So yeah, you can spread out or turn to your partners. Here, I'm going to scooch out of the way. You guys can be right in front of each other. You both have computers. You're good. Chance, go ahead and move over there. I'm going to have him move over there. With Chance, he's going to go over there with you. Yeah.